handgun threat from the front. So we're looking where an attacker has managed to get close enough to you here, and they've pulled out a handgun here to threaten you from in close. Now, there's a couple of things we need to know with this one. One, they're a criminal. So if you watch a lot of CCTV cameras and real footage of people getting held up with pistols in close here, the attacker tends to get close and threaten to hide something like this here. It's tactically when someone would threaten somebody and create space here, which is the correct thing to do, but criminally minded, they'll tend to get into this range for that threatening, dominating power play here of power of life and death right now, of holding a handgun to your head. Now, they might be close, they're not always silly enough to start pressing it into the temple nice and close here, but they'll probably be here close enough in range to take things or order things here. Now, first things first, as with all knife and gun and weapon threats, is most of the time here, they're doing a threat because they want something from you. And so they'll be directing you to what that is. So if they are asking for money or property that you have on you or that you're in control of, give it up. It's in the high 90th percentile of incidences where people have been held at weapon point and asking for money and objects. When this person has handed them over, that was the end of the threat, and the attacker has now moved on. So basically anything like here, if you've got the object, it is not worth your life fighting over, give up the object. You wouldn't have to do this technique. This technique is for when you really feel like you have to work it. So there are some countries where life is cheaper, so you might not feel like you have to fight for your life here. Any type of kidnap, hostage taking scenario, you might want to react because you don't have to go along with it. The more control that the hostage taker gets, the harder it is for you to extract yourself out. And any time where you feel like this guy is actually going to come up to pull the trigger, not happy with the object, or is on edge, you might have to react. So this is the techniques. So a couple of things in relation to a pistol. Unless something is really out of order, I'm always going to assume that this firearm is loaded and ready to fire. So there is a bullet in the chamber, and I'll always assume that. Because what happens is here, if I don't, and this person pulls the trigger, I don't want to have to be in front of them. So what happens is when someone has managed to get close enough to you here, they've pulled the gun out, we're going to be looking at medium and high. Medium is somewhere where it's at the chest, high is where it's pointing at your head. We'll look at one hand at the moment here. It's not always going to be nice and perfectly straight. It could be straight, it could even hit with a bent arm, which I don't recommend. But here there's also probably some physical action as well with this here. First things first, if someone has made a pistol threat at you, and this is not an execution type style event, you're probably going to want to get your hands up in compliance. Because the attacker is wanting compliance here. If he feels like he hasn't got control and compliance over you, he's going to escalate this in one of a few ways. Maybe he'll start hitting here, maybe he creates space, or worse, he pulls the trigger. So what I want you to do here, if someone's got their hands up, their pistol up, you should be getting your hands up, showing compliance here. I want this attacker to feel like they're in complete control of the situation here. Secondly, it does get your hands up so I can be ready for the technique which we're about to do. Okay. And so what will happen here is the attacker has pulled a gun on you here, and they'll probably ask for things, money, objects like so, and then basically I've got my compliance. I'd be using compliance not just with my body language, but also with my words. I would be saying, okay, no problem, mate, I'll get it for you, it's in my pocket here, no worries, relax. Here. You can see here creating space. Now, slowly what I'm doing, here like so. First thing here, I need to get off the line with controlling. Then I assume he's recoiling and I hit him. From here, off the line, hitting, then I'm going to do a disarm. I could hit back. So, it is up. And then I've got my compliance. What's happening is here, I could do mystery directions. Using a tone and voice here, wait, relax, I'll get it for you. Then what's happening is here, this is a hand that's going to be doing the redirection for me. Now, it is still the same timeline of hand, body, step that we use all the time. except for here, the hand does start. So if I've done this extra slow motion now, as the hand starts, what my hand wants to do is do a redirect like so. And I want to grab it, thumb down, and I want to punch redirect this almost at 45 degrees. The thing is, even though the hand has started, just before contact, I'll have a body defense. Just before contact here. It's still hand-body step because the hand has started, the body just moves just before contact. Because the assumption I'll always make is his fingers is on the trigger, bullet in the chamber, and basically as soon as I touch this thing, the gun goes off. Could very well happen, especially if he's got a finger heavy on the trigger, and he might be a bit jittery. So what happens is here, as it's traveling just before contact, I'll have a head defense off the line, and then I've got my redirect. If the gun goes off now, then I'm in safe. Most pistols these days are semi-automatic pistols with a slide. So if this was to go off now, my hand would be okay, and this gun will not go off again unless he's managed to get control of the pistol again to re-rack the slide. So if it does go off and I'm holding the slide, this will not go off again. From here, as I've done this redirect, immediately this other hand is coming underneath the line of the barrel, and I'm going to catch at the back where the hammer would be, back of the pistol here. Now I've got two hands. I've got two hands on this firearm for good leverage and control. As soon as I start to do this, I will assume straight away my attacker is going to recoil his gun back to gain control of it. I don't really care how he recoils it. He could recoil it upwards, he could recoil it down and back, whatever it is. I need to go with it. So as I've done my here like so, I'm going to catch and then I drive it. And what I want to do is, with this barrel, I want to punch this barrel upwards. As much as I can, I mean I will go to wherever he recoils it, but if I'm quick enough and dominant enough here, I want to punch this barrel up, and if I slam him in the face with this here, even better. Into the head, into the chest if I can. Now from here, catching 1, 2, driving this in, and you can see I'm getting in nice and deep with my foot. The shallower my foot, the less control I'm getting because he can turn and pull, and now I'm back in line of this pistol. So every time I'm going with this firearm, I want to be as deep as I can off the line with my foot here. Now from here, once I've gotten into this spot, as soon as I've got to here, slam with my foot, immediately I'm going to go for knees or maybe shins into the attacker's groin as fast and as hard as I can here. I need to take his focus off wrestling for the gun, as well as put pain compliance on this gun. Now from here, I've got headbutts as well early, if I can, and then basically I do not want to take my hands off the gun. Make sure, if I bring it closer here, once this gun is in and I'm doing knees, make sure that your knuckles here are glued to this attacker's body. Make sure when you're doing strikes that this gun doesn't come out into space. When it starts to come out into space, he becomes strong again on his recoil. It could become strong. So here I want to keep it always attached to him and nice and strong because it's weak on his wrist and it's a little bit harder for him to recoil. From here, always be adjusting your foot. So if I'm coming in here and I'm striking and my attack has gone back, I will always adjust my foot forward and deep outside the line. Always want to be on top of this guy because it makes him weaker, it makes me stronger. Now from here, the disarm. I must disarm firearms. Because if I just try to hit and run, he could re-rack the slide and keep shooting. So I must disarm the firearm. From here, I'll try and disarm as quick as I can, but as long as I've already hurt him very quickly with some good pain compliance, then from here, what I want to do is with the barrel, which has been pointing up and into him the whole time, I want to turn the barrel into him and draw like a line down his shirt here. So now the barrel to here. His wrist is not in a very good position as well. If the attacker is his finger in the trigger, now from here, as soon as I've done this turning through, I then just turn the barrel sideways, 90 degrees, and then from here, all I need to do is just pull the gun off the attacker's grip. Now, if I pull out and I've got space, I could do a kick, either a kick for space or a kick for breaking knees. And then after kicking, creating space myself, and then I can do a tap and rack to perhaps charge the gun again. Or if I disarm here and I'm close, I can also bring the top of this barrel with my grip, immediately do a cold strike with the pistol into his face, and then I can also create space with my grip. I will always put it to my trigger hand first. Here, there's a tap for the magazine, re-rack a round into the chamber. I'm not advising that you're going to start using this because legally you are not in a position to start using it. But here I can then make my exit. Here, I can hide this thing. If he was to attack, I've still got striking here as well. One thing to note with the firearm threats is I always need to know where this muzzle is pointing, not just in defense, but also where it is in control. I never want this gun pointing back towards me at any point, turning it in towards me, because if this hasn't gone off yet and he pulls the trigger, it may still go off. So I always want muzzle control, awareness, and always away from me. Best spot is always pointing towards him. Otherwise, down, and then otherwise it's out. When I pulled it off his finger for my grip, you can see I didn't pull it and turn it towards me at any point. I still had muzzle control away, and even when I created space, the muzzle went back towards him and never towards me. Now we're going to look at what happens when the attacker has done his threat, and now he's got two hands on the firearm here. Now, for us as a defense, not much changes. We're going to do the same principles here. It's just that the attacker, with now two hands on the firearm, his frame and his grip is a lot stronger now. And that's the only other thing. So, here the attacker is coming up and he's got two hands on the firearm. And so what happens is I'm doing my compliance, and then when I'm going to react here, I'm getting deep, and then from here, and then okay. Now, slowly what I'm doing, bring it a bit more forward. Two hands on the firearm. So what I want to do here is I do want to do a redirect the same as before. But if I just take Liam's support hand off, you can see this is the same as the one-handed one, where he's got his finger on the trigger, that's his trigger hand. But he just brings the support hand in. So basically if I take that off again, if I show the one-handed solution again, there it is. I use the same redirect hand that the trigger hand is on the pistol, which is basically going to the dead side. So this is a dead side solution, which is orthodox for us. If he's got two hands on the gun, I actually want to do the same thing. I'd rather do the dead side, which is the same side hand as the trigger finger hand. Here, you can go to the live side, which is the opposite side. It is a thing, and in some certain angles and instances you might have to do it. But for here, we're going to do this one because at the end, well, one, it's the same technique as a one-handed firearm threat. So we're going to use the same technique using the same redirect hand. And two, for disarming, it's a little bit easier as well for the position I get to. So if I'm doing this a bit slower now here, I've still got that happening, but this hand immediately comes to the here again. So it's traveling. Now again, I go to punch this in. Now I might end up a little bit shallower. Maybe the guy's got a strong grip here. As I come up, I can't get it so much in as before because he's a bit stronger. What I can do, as soon as I feel like there's a little bit of resistance, boom, I'm going to throw a groin kick, foot, shin or knee, whatever it is, immediately to the groin and keep driving this forward. And you can see as I started to come in, I've got this foot deep off the line again, and now I'm back into knees, shins, whatever I need, early headbutts to the face. Now for my disarm, by turning from here, nothing changes. Because if I release the support hand, this is very similar to the one we had with one-handed solution. But if he has two now, okay, this other hand that's catching the back of the pistol here is going to cut his hand away anyway. So from the same as before, when I go to do my disarm, the barrel, I'm going to point into his body and push downwards here. And then when it comes out, I can just turn it, and then I can just break this off his grip. If I show you this one slowly without, what's happening with his finger, I actually don't want to break his finger as much as I can here because I want this to come off his finger. So as it comes down, as I turn it, it helps to straighten his finger out, pull it, there's my hit.